Hello friends, welcome to my channel. My name is Bhargavateja. In this video, I am going to show you Java hands-on sample questions. Thank you guys for supporting my channel. Please subscribe to our channel. In this video, I am going to show you 25 programs. I have tried to complete 50 programs, but in next video, by tomorrow, it will be uploaded. That link will be provided in description. Please watch this full video. You will may find a new point. If you have any doubts, you can comment, and any suggestion you can also comment me. You can directly send me message through Telegram. Without any delay, let's get started. Before starting the first problem, I want to tell you something. System.out.println is a statement which is used to print text. If we run this file, we will get hello world as the output. Now we will check once. Now let's move on to the next problem. The first problem is write a program to tell a number is positive, negative or a zero. For that we need to take input. For taking input we need to import scanner class. I have already imported scanner class which is in util package. Now I need to create object for scanner class. Now we have successfully created object for scanner class. I need to take input. I have taken the input by using next int method. To compare, we need to use if conditions. If n greater than 0, we must print that it is positive number. Else if we need to check that less than 0, then we must print that it is a negative number, or else it will be 0. Now we will try to execute. Now let's move on to the next problem. The next problem is write a program on determining a number is even or odd. The sample input is 6. 6 is a divisible factor of 2. Then it should be printed as even, or else it should be printed as odd. After taking input, we need to check whether it is even or odd. If n percentage 2 is equal to 0, then we must print it is an even number, or else we must print that it is an odd number. Now we will check it. Now let's move on to the third problem. The third problem is write a program to find the greatest value among 2 or 3 numbers. By seeing this greatest value among 3 numbers, you can solve easily 2-digit number. Now we need to take 3 inputs. For that I need to create 3 variables. Now we have successfully taken 3 inputs. After that we need to compare whether A is greater than B and also A is greater than C. If condition is true, we must print that A is the biggest. If the first condition is false, we must verify whether B or C. In else if condition, we must check whether B is greater than C. If it is true, we must print B is the greatest. If both the conditions are false, then we must print that C is the greatest. Now let's check this problem. We got 5 is the greatest number. Now I think you can solve for 2 numbers. Now let's move on to the fourth problem. Write a program to return second last digit of a number. In this number, its length is 7. In that we must print 2 as the output. For that we must divide with 100. The remainder will be 25. In that remainder we must divide it with 10 to get output. Now we will solve this problem. I have taken the input. The number percentage 100 is stored in A. After that we need to print A by 10. Now let's check this. Now we have got the output. Now let's move on to the next problem. The next problem is write a program on returning sum of two numbers last digits. After taking two inputs, the remainders of first number and second number is 3 and 5. When we add, we will get 8 as output. Now let's check how to do this problem. I have taken the input. after taking the input after dividing 10 is stored in A, and same for B. Now I must print A plus B. Now let's check this problem. We have got 8 as output. Now let's move on to the next problem. Finding the square root of a number. After taking the input, we have to use a method called math.sqrt, where sqrt refers to square root. In that we must assign variable. It returns a double type, so we must typecast it. Now I have converted into integer. After that, save it, and now we will execute. Let us take an example for 25. 5 is the output. Now let's move on to the next problem. Write a program to find sum of all digits in a number. If we take 9,47,235 as value, we must get 30 as output. Now we will check how to do this problem. After taking the input, I am creating another variable sum to store the sum value. For this I need a loop. Take an while condition, add n percentage 10 to the sum. After that, update that n value to n by 10. It will check until n greater than 0. After that, we need to print some value. Now we will check the output. Input is 9,47,235. The output is 30. Now let's move on to the next problem. Write a program on Fibonacci series. The input is 5. For that, first initial terms are 0 and 1. For that, we need to assign two variables. For iterating, we need another variable called temp. Now we will see how to solve this problem. I have taken the input. After that, I need two variables for initial terms. After that, we need to iterate a loop for I equal to 3, because we have already assigned two variables for first and second term. For that, we need to iterate from third one. We need to create another variable called temp for iteration. In that, we need to assign a plus b. After that, for a, we need to assign b, and for b, we need to assign temp. This will be work for from 3. If the input is 1, we must print A. If n equal to 2, we must print B. If both the conditions are failed, then else condition will be invoked. In that, output will be printed. Now let's check the solution. I given input as 5. The output is 2, but we need to get 3. That means I need also check for n condition. Now we will check the output. Input is 5. Now it is 3. Now let's move on to the next problem. Write a program on printing a single digit sum from a number. Now take a input of 95. In that 95, if we add 2 digits, the output will be 14. For 14, we must add both the digits. Then it will be get 5. For that, we need to use a for loop. Without for loop, for that I have a trick. After taking the input, we need to write a condition in if condition. If n percentage 9 equal to 0, then we must print 9 as the output, or else we must print n percentage 9. Now let's check the output. The input is 95. The output is 5. Now I want to check for 27, which is exactly divisible by 9. 2 plus 7, which is 9. Now let's move on to the next problem. To write a factorial of a given number. For 5, the output is 120. If we multiply until 1, we will get 120. Now we will solve this problem. After taking the input, I want to create another variable with factorial value 1. We need to check until n value is greater than 0. We must decrement the n value, and factorial should be multiplied with n. After writing the for loop, we must print the factorial value. Now let's check the output. For 5, we got 120. Now let's move on to the next problem. For finding the factorial of a negative number, input is minus 3. If we multiply minus 3 into minus 2 into minus 1, the output will be minus 6. For that we need to change a little conditions here. While n is less than 0, n equal to n plus 1. The input is minus 3. The output is minus 6. So we will move to the next problem. Write a program on leap year. For that we need to take input. After taking the input, we must check the condition that n percentage 4 is equal to 0. If it is equal to 0, we must also check remaining condition. If it is not possible, then we can directly print it is not a leap year. Now this is not a leap year. In this if condition, we must also check for n percentage 100 equal to 0. If n percentage 100 is not equal to 0, we can directly print that it is a leap year. If n percentage 100 equal to 0, then we must check another condition that if n percentage 400 equal to 0. If it satisfies, we must print it is a leap year, or else we must print it is not a leap year. Now let's check the solution. Now we will give the input. It has shown it is a leap year. 2020 is a leap year. Now let's move on to the next problem. To find the greatest common divisor of two numbers, if we given 12 and 8 as inputs, we will get 4 as the output, because 4 is the highest common divisor for 12 and 8. For that we must check the greatest number between 8 and 12. 12 is the biggest. So we need to check until 8. After taking the inputs, we must check the greatest number. Now we have stored the smallest value in the temporary variable. We must iterate until the temporary variable to find the greatest common divisor. Rather than taking for loop, I want to take while loop. Why? Because we can solve the problem very easily. If a percentage temp equal to 0 and b percentage temp equal to 0, then we can directly print temp as the highest common divisor for this problem. Now we will save and execute it. Now we should give the input 12, 8. We got 4 to 1. We need only 4. For that we need to use here break. Now let's try this solution. 12 and 8. We got 4. Now let's move on to the next problem. Write a program to determining a number is prime number or not. To determining a prime number, a number should be divided with 1 and by itself. 13. Divisible factors of 13 are 1 and 13. So it is a prime number. Now let's solve this problem. After taking the input, we must check divisible factor. We need a for loop. I am iterating a for loop from 2 to n by 2. Here n by 2 is 13. 13 by 2 is 6. That means we should not get any divisible factors between these two. If we got any divisible factors between these two, then it is not a prime. For that I am using a flag. I am checking with a condition n percentage I equal to 0. If that condition is satisfied, I am assigning to flag 1. After for loop, I want to check the flag value. If flag equal to 0, then we must print it is a prime number, or else we must print it is not a prime number. The input is 13. It is a prime number. Now let's move on to the next problem. The next program is write a prime numbers logic from 1 to 100. The output will be many numbers. So I haven't printed the output. Now let's check the output. For that I need another for loop. We need to check from 2 to 100. In that for loop we must use flag value 0 for every outer loop iteration. The outer loop will be closed after else condition. In this print method, I am printing j value. I am removing else condition. I need only prime numbers. So that's why I am printing j for every for loop. Now let's save and execute. In this we don't need any n value. So I am removing it. In place of n by 2 we should use j by 2 because here n value is j. Here we got all the prime numbers from 1 to 100. Now let's move on to the next problem. Here we must print the output that sum of all prime numbers within 100. For that, in place of system.out.println, we will take another sum variable to store the sum value, and we need to create another variable here. After outer for loop, I am going to print sum value. The sum of all prime numbers within 100 is 1064. Now let's move on to the next problem. Write a program to find the electricity bill. For 120 units, the output is 645. The constraints are: for first 50 units, per unit we must calculate 5 rupees. For next 50 units, we must take 5.5 rupees per unit. If greater than 100 per unit, we must take 6 rupees. For 120 units, we must solve problem like this. Now let's start solving the problem. For units, I am taking variable n. If number of units is less than 50, we can directly multiply with 5. If number of units is less than 100, we must calculate 50 star 5 plus n minus 50 star 5.5, or else we must separate n minus 100 and then multiply with 6. Now we will check the output. I have forgot the semicolon. It has been successfully compiled. The number of units is 120. The output is 645, but the output contains the decimal value. So we need to convert it into integer. So we need to typecast it. Now we will check the output. The output is 645. Now let's move on to the next problem. Write a program on checking a number is strong number or not. We must individually calculate the factorial of the number. After that we need to add all the factorials of the digits. The output should be same. Then we can say it is a strong number. Now we will solve this problem. After taking the input, now I am iterating a while loop. In that I am checking n should be greater than 0. For every iteration I am dividing with 10 so that the value will be decrement to 1. For storing the sum value, I am assigning to 0, and for factorial value I am assigning factorial value to 1. and I am also taking a temp variable. The temp value I am storing, the n percentage 10 value I am storing in 10. Here I will check for temp is greater than 0. I will calculate factorial here. For every iteration I am decrementing temp. After this while loop I am assigning factorial value to 1. Before assigning factorial value to 1, I must add factorial value to the sum variable. Now we will print the sum value. After taking that, I am also using another variable to compare with x and sum value. If x and sum value is same, I will print it is a strong number. Now we will check the output. The input is 145. It is a strong number. Now let's move on to the next problem. Write a program to determine whether the given number is Armstrong or not. Here 153 is the input. Its length is 3. We must calculate every digit cubic number and add to some value. If the sum value is 153, it is a Armstrong number. Now we will solve this problem. First, after taking the input, we must convert it into string. To convert a number to string, we must use inverted commas. Now it has been converted into string. Why we need to convert into the string? We must calculate the length of a number. We can't calculate directly, so we must convert into the string. Now I am using length function to find the length of the number. Now we have calculated the length of the number. I am storing n value in variable x to compare the output with x. I need a while loop for it. While n greater than 0, I am dividing the n value by 10 for every loop. To store the power value, I am using some variable. For calculating power of the value, we need to use math.pow function. Here I am using n percentage 10 value, which is 5, and length, which is 3, 5 cube. We must solve the same procedure to remaining 2 digits. That's why we need a while loop. After while loop, I am checking the sum is equal to, if it is equal to x, I am going to print it is a Armstrong number. Now we will check the output. Math.pow returns an double value, so we need to convert into int. It is an Armstrong number. Now let's move on to the next problem. The next type of problems are matrix problems. We have reached to the 28th problem. The 28th problem is write a program to find the sum of a diagonal matrix. There are two diagonals for a matrix. One is from left and one is from right. The left diagonal matrix is 147. If we add those numbers, 12 is the output. If we added the right diagonal matrix, we will get 14. Now we will solve the problem. The input is 3 by 3 matrix. So we need to create 3 by 3 array. For taking input for 3 by 3 array, we need to use a for loop. The n value is 3. Now we will take the input. A of ij equal to sc dot next int. Now we have successfully taken the input for matrix values. Now we need to use two variables to store the sum values. I need two for loops. In that, if I equal to j, we must add I of j to the sum variable, or else if condition, if I plus j equal to 3 minus 1, which is 2, then we must add to the sum one variable. Now we will print the sum1 and sum2 variables. Now we will check the output. We got the output. Now let's move on to the next condition. Write a program to find the addition of two matrices. We need to take two matrices as input and we must add. To add two matrices, the length of the matrix should be same. The first matrix is 3 by 3 and second matrix also should be 3 by 3. Then only we can add the two matrices. Now let's move on to the solution. I need to create another 3 by 3 matrix and I need to take input for second matrix. Now we have successfully taken the input. In the for loop, I am going to add directly. I am using here print method, not println method. After writing that, I am giving space. I am using println method to print a row in a new line. Now we will try to execute. We can also give line by line also. Now we have got the output. Now let's move on to the next problem. The next problem is write a program to find highest number in a matrix in H pattern. We must consider only H-shaped matrix. We should neglect 2 and 8 from the matrix. If we neglect those two values, 9 is the highest number. Even though if we include 2 and 8, 9 is only the highest number. Now we will solve the problem. After taking the input, I am creating another variable temp for storing the highest value. If a of 0, 0 is greater than temp, I am storing the array 0th index values in the temp variable, and then I am checking a of 0, 2. This procedure will be continued until the last value. After writing all the if conditions, we will print the temp variable. Now we will save and execute it. Here 9 is the output. Now let's move on to the next problem. The next problem is on arrays. The first problem in arrays is write a program on sorting an array. For sorting an array, I have an easy solution. First, we need to take input for how many integers. After that, we need to take input for array. After taking the input, we have a inbuilt function that arrays.sort. We must give the reference ID of array. Now it has been sorted. After that, we must print the values. Here length is the method to determine the length of the array. I am using here print method. Now we will try to execute it. I haven't declared the n variable. N value is 5, 2, 3, 1, 4, 5. The output has been printed. After that, the next problem is to determine smallest and biggest value in an array. Here we can directly print a of 0 and a of n minus 1 because the last index of an array is n minus 1, which is 4. The array has been sorted and the output has been printed. Now let's move on to the next problem. Write a program on second highest number in an array. An array may consist of two same highest digit numbers, but we don't need 4. We need 3, which is the second highest. So after sorting the number, I need another for loop. From n-1 index until greater than 0, I minus minus. I need to iterate from n minus 2 until 0. For that, I need to check a of I should not be equal to a of I plus 1. If condition is satisfied, then we must print a of I value. After that, break condition. If we not use it break condition, it will iterate until last of the for loop. Now we will check the output. I haven't closed the for loop. After closing the for loop, now let's check the problem. The second maximum highest within an array is 3. That's all guys. The next 25 problems will be uploaded day after tomorrow. If you like this video, please like, share and subscribe to don't miss any updates. If you have any doubts and suggestions for me and what videos should be made, use comment box below the video.